Coding with AI keeps getting better and better. Cursor was the first one, and it was basically VS Code with AI capabilities grafted on top. Then we had AI in our terminals, and now Claude Code is one of the best agents for coding ever. But what if I say that I found a game changer today? Something that makes Claude Code do everything on its own. It creates a whole team, and this team does not do one thing at a time. They all do it together. The best part is that you don't need to monitor anything, as it is a fully autonomous system that does it all itself. Before I show you the workflow, you must be familiar with two key concepts, since most humans will not be. If you understand them, you will see how clever this workflow is and how it makes it possible for future AI agents to function. It's referred to as Tmux, or terminal multiplexer. It's software that enables you to open multiple terminal sessions in one window. What this means is that while an agent such as Claude Code is running under a terminal session, it's possible for it to create new terminals under the very same session and split tasks between them. A Claude Code instance can therefore control and manage any number of Claude Code instances that it wishes. The good thing about Tmux sessions is that they remain in memory even after you're done with them. So, if you go back to them later, you're right where you stopped. It's super helpful for retaining context. The other concept is terminal scheduling. This lets you give tasks to agents with certain time parameters. You tell them to do some task at a certain time of day and then move automatically to the next task. You don't need to constantly monitor. The agents simply run according to the schedule that you've set up for them. They automatically complete everything. That's the benefit of scheduling. It makes your terminal run automatically. Before we begin, change into that directory or folder in which you'd like to set up the system. When you're there, change into that GitHub repository referenced in the description below. This repository is named Tmux Orchestrator, and you're going to need to copy that link from there. Change back into your terminal and type in git clone followed by that link. This will clone that repository to your local machine. Once cloned, change into that newly created directory named Tmux Orchestrator, and inside it, you're going to run these setup commands depicted here. You don't need to copy these commands from this video. I will also show you toward the end how to obtain them in a usable structure for easy copy and paste. Running the setup runs scripts that turn on the agentic workflow. This gives all needed files execution permission. Once you've run a successful setup, you must initialize a new Tmux session. Since I'm already running one for myself, I will call this one my second agent. This will set up a new session for you from scratch. Before you begin interacting with the system, you must correct two things. As this project is currently in development and quite new, nothing has been set in stone yet. There are two errors in the repository that need correction. After fixing these, the system should run properly. Both fixes I'm about to explain require editing files inside the framework. This will make more sense when I show you the demo. These are minor changes that you can easily make yourself. First, when you're inside the Tmux session, type out Claude to initialize Claude Code. You'll then give it a specific prompt that explains how the orchestrator works. There are two checks to ensure everything is functioning correctly. The first check verifies that Claude can control different windows using Tmux. The verification step ensures our scheduling framework operates correctly. Running this command on my machine shows a successful test. But when you try it, expect a failure. The original author embedded their personal username into the config files. This isn't something to stress about. Claude automatically identifies these issues and updates the paths to match your environment. You won't even need to manually copy this command from your display. Now for the second modification, request Claude Code to modify the files once more. Instruct it to scan through every command and swap out the basic Claude command with the version that includes the dangerously skip permissions parameter. This adjustment is essential since the original framework we copied lacks this functionality. Notice how 3 terminal windows are being managed by one primary agent. This showcases the main advantage of the Tmux framework. It enables your primary agent to spawn additional terminals automatically within your current terminal session. Here's my primary terminal, and it has spawned 3 child terminals within it. Though I'm displaying 3, the system is actually managing 8 terminals simultaneously. Typically, Claude requests your permission before executing commands. Even with auto-accept edits turned on, Claude still seeks approval for specific operations. The dangerous skip permissions parameter makes Claude execute everything automatically. I've employed this setting repeatedly without encountering system problems. This configuration is necessary so all terminals can execute Claude commands independently without you having to access each one individually and authorize every single action. I discovered this requirement through trial and error. During my initial attempt with the system, I launched it but observed it had stalled. After waiting 15 minutes with the scheduling system active, everything stayed frozen at the initial stage. This occurred because every terminal was waiting for my authorization. The flag must be enabled so the system can run all commands autonomously without pausing for your confirmation. You've observed the multi-terminal configuration, but there's another essential component that needs your focus. This is where you'll invest most of your effort, and it's what makes the whole system valuable. I've accessed the project directory and opened Cursor to demonstrate the organization visually. You'll notice our Tmux orchestrator directory that we duplicated. Beyond that, I maintain an app directory with two subdirectories, Spec and Task Manager. The Spec directory holds the documentation that guides the Tmux orchestrator's operations. The Task Manager directory houses where the application gets constructed. The Spec directory plays a vital role. It holds the primary spec, integration spec, and individual front-end and back-end specifications. These documents provide instructions that inform the orchestrator precisely which application to create. The primary spec defines the timeline for each development stage. Every phase is scheduled, and Claude Code must finish each stage within the designated timeframe. I've created a template that helps you build your specifications progressively. It contains standard requirements for a complete stack web application, which you can customize for your specific needs. If you're developing something else, ensure you examine and modify the specifications appropriately. After your spec is complete, you'll execute a particular command to initiate Claude's work on the project. From that moment, everything operates independently. Here's the key information about the command. You must include the complete path to your spec directory beginning from the home directory. Avoid using relative paths. Then, define which teams to establish. There's a front-end team and back-end team, each containing a project manager and developer. Additional teams can be added using identical formatting. For instance, to include authentication, you enter create an auth team and use the same structure. The system develops based on your specifications and monitors each team every 15 minutes to verify tasks finish on time. It also saves changes frequently, establishing recovery points if issues arise. Version management is integrated into the process. Let me show you my configuration. I've exhausted my Claude usage quota, so I can't demonstrate live development, but I can explain how I initiated the workflow. After implementing both fixes and establishing the Tmux session, restart Claude using the dangerous permissions parameter. This starts Claude with the required permissions. Then submit your command and the system begins building everything automatically. Allow me to show you the terminals it creates and how it coordinates the development process across them. This represents the project's beginning. I set it up exactly as I demonstrated. For safety, I executed the verification command mentioned initially. Having already corrected the hard-coded paths, it validated the setup was working. It detected the first agent window and confirmed the scheduling was accurate. I supplied the full stack application specification, and you can observe it incorporating what I wanted to develop just as I showed before. Following that, it continued automatically. And I also added a UI implementation guide in the front-end specification. It recognizes to examine the UI reference directory. Inside, I have a design image to duplicate and a UI implement adme document. This implementation strategy offers precise instructions using SHAD-CN components with the SHAD-CN MCP. It's an incredible process that I'll reference in the description if you want to explore it. The system comprehended my project needs. It had to launch the front-end team, then the back-end team, configure their development phases, and arrange 15-minute status checks. It accomplished all these objectives. You can observe it instructing both teams using the send cloud message script. It delivered directions to the front-end team's project manager, then supplied them with the project specifications from the spec directory. It duplicated this approach for the backend team, providing them with their timeline and refreshing the task list. It identified finished tasks and advanced to the following phase. The system notified me that both teams were actively developing. It shared a progress report and scheduled the following check, outlining what each team was accomplishing and their current status. Both teams were effectively launched and progressing through phase 1. Following 15 minutes, the orchestrator's status report revealed both teams were exceeding expectations. Phase 1 was finished with additional features implemented. The 15-minute update verified Phase 1 completion with multiple components prepared. It refreshed the task list and requested authorization to begin Phase 2. You could modify the main file to advance through all phases automatically without prompting. Nevertheless, I favor gradual progression for evaluation at each milestone. Examining the actual configuration, you can observe our primary agent at the top. Underneath is task front-end with 3 windows and task backend also containing 3 windows. Both teams operate concurrently. Each maintains one window for the project manager, another for the developer, and a third for the server that executes tests and monitors for issues. Everything functions in a continuous cycle. These agents develop and work independently. It's similar to having several engineers working at the same time, each in their individual terminal. This illustrates the genuine capability that Tmux adds to your development process. At the bottom, you can see the agent we established initially, which I labeled the second agent. To grasp the workflow and access all commands, visit the GitHub repository. However, it can be overwhelming and I've implemented various changes myself. Instead, I suggest using git ingest. Simply grab the GitHub URL and substitute github.com with gitingest.com. This will condense the complete repository into AI-friendly text. Copy that overview and input it into Claude or ChatGPT. From my experience, Claude delivers superior results for this kind of task. Request it to clarify the workflow and set up procedures step by step, and it will walk you through everything, including all required commands. If the commands don't display exactly as anticipated, don't be concerned. I'll provide all of them in the description below for your reference. That concludes this video. If you'd like to support the channel and help us continue creating content like this. As always, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.